My name is Andrew Court and I'm a partner in the Court Farming Partnership. We farm here in Staffordshire. We are predominantly a arable-based enterprise, but we also grow beef cattle on behalf of major supermarkets and retailers as well. Water management is very important to our farm for two reasons. The first is that we're on a light sandy loam which is very free draining, so it's very difficult to retain water in the summer months. By developing the capacity of the soil to hold water, that allows our crops to grow for a longer period and to keep going under less stress for longer periods. And then from a nutrient point of view, water that drains out of this soil will be taking nutrients with it. That costs us money, so we want to capture those nutrients, prevent them from leaving the farm, and then utilise them in subsequent crops. We work very closely with Severn Trent. We're in a groundwater catchment zone, so it's very important to them that we capture the nutrients that could be leaching out through our soil, because that protects their borehole and reduces their costs and provides a better quality of water for them to serve to their customers.
For every pound that we spend in a catchment, it will have massive meaningful reductions in the amount of treatment work that we have to do at our clean water abstractions. So whether that's a borehole such as this, or whether it's a large scale surface water abstraction, we have around 55 catchments currently. They are a mix of pesticide catchments, nitrate and cryptosporidium. I needed to get cover crops into this area as early as possible, just to make sure that any nitrates that are still around are captured, go into a green living plant instead of finding their way into the groundwater sources that are underneath. Not every farm wants to build a sprayer shed. They don't want a massive piece of infrastructure, but they might want things like drip trays. They might want things like low drift nozzles that stop the spray ending up in the watercourse or the surface water or something else effectively. Some of the equipment we see in Andrew's farmyard, such as the machine to desiccate cover crops and the subsoiler, are simply to help his nitrogen use efficiency. And that's a good learning curve for other farms. It helps me to go and talk to others about what Andrew's done and how it's worked for him and things like that. There isn't many Andrews. There isn't many sort of pioneers who will try something quite different, and I think he approaches this in a slightly different way than lots of farms, and maybe being newer to it or a fresh approach or a fresh start just means that he can apply a different mindset and then allow that to be demonstrated to other people to give them a bit of confidence that it is something to do.
We do work with our neighbours and talk a lot with our neighbours, collaborate. We're a member of the Green Farm Collective, which is looking at promoting farmer knowledge in the regen space, but also developing regenerative grain markets to get a better premium for the crops that we grow. We have quite a wide rotation on this farm, and it's all about developing that soil structure once again and reducing our requirement for pesticides. Cover crops are really important for developing soil structure and for capturing nutrients that might otherwise be lost. We utilise three different methods of cover crop destruction. The first is chemical. The second option available to us is mechanical. The final option available to us is to graze the cover crop. This is the most efficient conversion of the carbon and nutrients within the plant, allowing it to be processed ultra quickly through the animal and then let out onto the field as their feces. We're standing here in one of our winter or overwinter cover crop fields. This is a mix of radishes and phacelia, vetch and black oats. So the oats are there to provide a cover and prevent wind erosion and really sort of protect the soil. The vetch and the phacelia is there to lock up and capture nutrients. And then the two radishes, like this one here, are, if you can see, they're quite deep rooting, so they really help to get down and relieve the layers of compaction that can be quite easily caused in the sandy soils. So that opens up the soil and really creates those pores for water to be held within. We will run soil tests every so often to double check the nutrients. We have a cone penetrometer, so we'll be certainly looking and analysing the compaction in the soil, and equally things like the weather and factoring in Severn Trent's requirements as well. It all comes together to help us decide what mix we need, and it can even be as simple as just picking up a handful of dirt and flicking it through your fingers to feel what's there and what's needed. One of the key things that we're implementing is this system of cell grazing, or some people know it's paddock grazing. The idea behind it is that it mimics grazing as it would be done naturally on the prairies, by which cattle would graze in a line moving up the field and removing everything and then not coming back to that grass for an extended period of time. This helps to really promote soil structure, even just with a plain grass sward. Reduces the burden of fertilizer, so there's less nutrient loss, and really improves the quality of the fodder that the cattle are eating. Livestock traditionally were given access to water courses as natural water troughs, giving them the ability to cool down and things like that. The trouble is that they can deposit their feces in that water course, and then that can lead to all sorts of problems for water companies to deal with. So therefore, there's real benefit in now fencing livestock away from those water courses in order to prevent that. This does provide a number of issues for farmers who've relied on natural resources to be able to water their cattle, but there are solutions out there such as ram water troughs, by which the cattle's action on their nose naturally pumps water out of the stream. They can still extract water from the stream, but they don't actually have to get in it to drink it. Items such as a solar-powered water pump that extracts water out of the trough or a local water course, and then a movable water trough that's on like a ground spike to hold it steady, provide a real solution to a problem that farmers experience with this type of grazing. There's a huge number of consultants out there. FAI Farms have done an awful lot of research over the past few years, and it's really worth looking that up. Pasture for Life have started a consultancy scheme, as well as their certification standard, so that there are real options out there to get advice and to move things forward. So there are a number of reasons why we plant herbal leys such as this one. Firstly, to help promote soil structure. So again, by having a blend of different plant species within the same field, that they have different rooting depths and different traits. Some can fix nitrogen, some can remove compaction. It's also very good in a year where you have a drought, because the deeper rooting crops will continue to grow a lot longer than the shallow rooted grasses. So you've always got a fodder for your animals. From an animal point of view, the diversity in the sward is fantastic, particularly for medical reasons. Plants such as chicory are natural wormers, and in a time where there is becoming a lot of resistance to artificial wormers in animals, then having a natural one means that you are using those far less regularly, if at all. We haven't used any for the last 2 years, and that's really, really beneficial to animal health and to soil health, because wormers damage bacteria within the soil. So there are a lot of benefits to having a herbal ley in your system. With sprayer technology, it's all about trying to be as precise as we possibly can. And that can be as simple as getting the timings of applying the sprays absolutely right, having the right nozzles to make sure that we get the right spray pattern and reduce drift. Also, maintaining boom height. Boom should only be 1/2 meter above the target on the plant, because that's what the nozzles are set to converge at to get the maximum spread. We have been able to, with help from Severn Trent, to include other technologies such as simple things like section control, which people take for granted these days, to prevent overlap on what we're doing, but also variable rate technology. The sprayer behind us is set up to work with variable rate maps, so that we can increase or reduce what we are applying based on scientific data from the fields and the crops, and so we can make that choice. There's other things like with fertilizers, we've swapped from a granular application to a liquid application. This improves uptake of the plant. Rainwater is actually the purest form of water that we can source. We capture that and put it into a tank. The efficacy or the absorption rate of that water by a plant is much higher. I believe water management is key for quite a number of reasons. Financially, it's important to make effective use of water as much as possible. We're in a time of very severe climate ping-ponging, from very dry drought summers to very, very wet summers. From a social point of view, it's very important that we increase the capacity of our fields, because with more water falling, particularly in times of flood, We want to be able to reduce the pressure on drainage systems, both on our own land and in the local community and the wider population. If we can hold more water within the soils without impacting our agricultural practices, then it's a win-win for everybody in this ever-changing climate. The journey that we've been on with our farm over the last 5 years has certainly been about collaboration and networking. When I was asked to join this project, I was delighted to have that opportunity. Soil structure is the backbone of everything that we do. If we don't look after our soils, we won't have a farm. And by promoting all of the traits that the soil can give us to their utmost, then we create a really viable, profitable business. Seek advice, try fresh ideas, and really think about it.